Hello. Trouble reporting in. My last video has caused a little bit of consternation. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I felt compelled to kind of redress that issue. What happened was I introduced the very non-controversial, totally unsubstantiated theory that possibly Forrest Fenn could be logging in with alternate accounts than whatever username account he's in at any given moment. For instance, in a question and answer period. And that he could be answering in questions as an anonymous person under another name. And I had this particular quotes that I had gotten off of a Jenny Kyle page. The page was called There's a Sky. It was a question and weekly words from Forrest Fenn. It was in August of 2016. And I had picked up on these things that this guy named Crow had said. And so I introduced this in my, I read them and I introduced it in my video, and people, and I said, well, here's Forrest Fenn posting as Crow. I'm pretty sure I actually say that in the video. Well, needless to say, some people pushed back and kind of said, can you kind of give us a source on that, Eric? That's a little sketchy, posting as Crow. You know, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I have to admit, well, you know, technically I don't know it's Forrest Fenn, obviously. And some people wrote me and said, no, that's not Forrest Fenn. I'm like, okay, it's not Forrest Fenn. And then I pretty much left it at that. Yeah, I cannot prove it's Forrest Fenn. And really in the future, oh, and one good thing was, on one of the Facebook sites, someone had asked me for the source, and it was so funny because in the videos, I'm literally at one point, I go, you know what, I'm done with giving you the sources, because I had this stack of notes, and you know, I was like, okay, this is from this particular page on this particular date, and then it got to the point where I was just doing screenshots of the post that I wanted to read, and I wasn't capturing the date in the spot. And so I was just saying, you know, figure it out yourself, more or less, not in those terms. And so then, of course, here comes this person specifically about the Crow comment saying, can you give me the source? So here, I'm going to go over this one more time. I'm not trying to exonerate me. There is no exoneration. The person is posting as Crow. They are not posting as Forrest Fenn. I will never, ever again do a video and say, I have a quote here by someone calling themselves Happy Pudding, and I just happen to think it's Forrest Fenn, because it doesn't wash with people. And I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to give a broader context of what was happening with these crow quotes. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to give you a broader context of the Crow quotes, and you can decide. Well, the most you'll be able to decide is maybe. And that's what someone said. They said maybe. Now, someone else that I'll mention later actually said something pretty cool, that they had a theory also similar to mine. I'll bring them up later. But anyway, this is the context. All right. I had to answer the phone. I should never answer the phone when I'm doing this. I'm too nice. It just screws up my continuity. It's horrible. Okay, so back to what I was trying to say. I went back and I got the fuller I had not even gotten the context of this Crow comment because, God, I really should never answer the phone when I'm doing these. Okay. I know I'm repeating. My last videos, I talked about a guy named Crow on Jenny Kyle's page who had done a couple of posts that I thought sounded very much like Forrest Fenn was doing the post. And it didn't even really occur to me that it was a big deal that he was under an alternate name. For some of you, I'm sure that's like, what? You have to understand, I spent 12 years in the IT business, okay? The concept of alternate accounts for me is just like, meh. It doesn't, I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people have more than one Facebook page. A lot of people have more than one YouTube account. I'll talk to kind of bolster my claim for the people who are maybe not that aware of this fact. I'll mention some other examples as we go along here. But, I think it would free Fenn up a lot to have alternate accounts. Some people call them fake accounts. They're not fake accounts. If I have an account under Eric Johnson, that's fine. If I have another account under Happy Pudding, that's fine. I don't know why I'm on pudding today. I love pudding. Well, what I really love is pie with pudding, like chocolate pie. Whew, man, I'm never going to outgrow chocolate pie. That's just my favorite treat, along with other things. You know what I mean? It's pretty damn good if you can find a place to get a good chocolate pie. And of course, nothing beats up. What am I talking about? Okay, here we go. So I went back and I actually looked in the broader context because people were just kind of picking on the one quote I did, and they're going, it doesn't really sound like Fenn. You know, don't jump to conclusions. That was all fine with me because you're right. I can't prove it. But I'm still going to go back and read the broader context. And tell me if you don't agree. There's some chance that's what happened here now. I don't know that it happened. I'm not saying it's Forrest Fenn. I'm just saying it reads to someone like me who spent years in IT and dealt with multiple accounts with different people. You can get used to different people's accounts. You know that they're their accounts. You know they're different, but you know it's them speaking. You know. There's something psychological about if I have my name Eric Johnson on the account, it's Eric Johnson. And if suddenly someone pops into the conversation called Happy Pudding and he's kind of bolstering my Eric Johnson views along, you just think this is an entirely separate person who really thinks Eric Johnson has good ideas. This works on many levels, right? Alternate accounts for people is no big deal. Alternate accounts do not mean... Someone had said with the thing with the Jenny Kyle thing about this Crow that Jenny Kyle would know by IP address if this other person Crow was Fenn or not. Well, of course he wouldn't. I mean, he might if he logged in a different day on the same computer and it was like a static IP and it was always the same IP. But for a lot of people, when they boot up or log in the morning, they're assigned a new IP with their DHCP. They're assigned a new IP. So one day to the next, it could be a different IP. And if you got in there on a different account that you had set up, it would be a different account logging in. Plus, it would be a different IP from day to day. Now, I personally have 3 computers. So, I can log into my entertainment PC, and I can have an account on there called EJ, and then I could log on, and that would be one IP. And then I could have next to me my laptop, and I could log in as ABC, and that would be another person logging in, and my laptop would have a different IP address, unless it was static, and I was always using the IP. But even then, if it was a different account, it could have a different IP number, so you'd have to be tracking that. Most people don't have a static IP. Most people let the internet, for want of getting too technical, assign an IP every time they boot up. And so, and sometimes even when they log in, depending. So, I mean, you know, if your IP expires on it, it's not worth getting into. The bottom line I'm trying to say is, though, IP address, you could literally sit there and have somebody at their house with 3 different computers, 3 different accounts, logging in and looking like 3 completely different people, and they could all be the same person with 3 different computers. I could do it today, but obviously there's no reason. I'm just trying to make a point. I'm telling myself this is going to be a fast video because it should be. It's not really a point worth belaboring to any great extent. But like I said, I got this sense from the community, if you will, and just the internet in general, from YouTubers, that, it's pretty unlikely. It may be unlikely, but I'll tell you this. Forrest Fenn, if he had an alternate account, can you imagine what freedom that would allow him? It would allow him to go into question and comment things, post as someone completely different, post with some innocuous name, Freddie Hijinks, and make comments about his own hunt, and we'd never be the wiser. Technically, he could give up the location, and we might all sit there and go, that guy's crazy if he thinks it's there. If Forrest Fenn logged in and we knew it was Forrest Fenn for sure, logging in as Forrest Fenn, and he said this is where it is, we'd all, have minor strokes and then go look for it immediately. Start booking airplane tickets. I'd have to do. But, if he logged in as an alternate account and you had no clue it was Forrest Fenn, it's just incredible. And if I were Forrest Fenn, I'd be doing that. I would do that. I would love to have the freedom to go in and add things. Maybe give people some clues. I know what you're saying. Well, Eric, they don't know that they're really, it's him. I understand that, but I'm just saying, when I see bloggers give good clues, or when I see them say things that are logical, those go in here. Those go in there anyway. So whoever the person is, and if it was Fenn on an alternate account, I would still go, wow, that makes a lot of sense. After all, this would be Forrest Fenn we're talking about the hunt. I just can't help it. Sometimes he'd love to come down off of Mount Olympus and mingle with the mortals. Oh, and by the way, this is literally Mount Olympus behind us. This is a streaming cam from Mount Olympus. That's Mount Olympus. It's always cloudy, apparently, and that's why it got, it was originally considered the home of the gods back in Greek mythology. It's pretty cool. I like it. I think it's a cool looking place. Yeah, but you'll notice once in a while, I guess there's wasps or bees that are near this webcam, and they come up and like attack the lens and stuff. So anyway, this is a broader context, and it even more exemplified my thought that this could be Forrest Fenn. I'm not trying to be provocative. I don't want to rehash this. I don't want to get people writing me again saying, you're wrong, you can't prove it. I know I could be wrong and I can't prove it. And quite frankly, I'll even give it to you that, yeah, probably I am wrong. However, you never know. That's all I'm saying. You don't know. This was featured question and weekly words from Forrest Fenn. There's a Sky. Jenny Kyle's page, August 19th, 2016. This was the initial question. This all went back to my video of special as word for the day for the treasure hunt. Something I plan on doing in the future. People have already sent me some words they want me to do. I think it's a cool idea. I got into threads concerning special. This is what happened. On this Jenny Kyle page of 2016, the question is, Mr. Fenn, you have been quoted as saying the treasure chest is hidden in a very special place. If a searcher should be fortunate enough to solve the poem, will he or she see the location as a special place, by your definition, also? Or will your reasoning be forever known only to you? I thought that was just a fantastic question. When and if any of us are lucky enough to come into this spot, we're going to come through the trees, we're going to come into the clearing, and you're going to hear angelic voices, and you're going to see an F carved on a tree that's glowing slightly, and squirrels are going to be jumping around, and rabbits are going to be yelling hooray, and birds are going to be flitting around your head, and then they're going to go straight to this place on the ground, and all the animals are going to be jumping around, and the squirrels and the rabbits, and maybe a deer will fly through, and, you know, there's going to be the treasure chest, and it's going to be, like, emanating sparks, and... Okay, is it going to be like that? Or is it just going to be kind of like you think you're in the right place, you're kind of looking around like some scuzzy-ass place near a creek or a river and or whatever, and it's like, damn. You know, and you don't, and you're like, that's all I want to know. I would hope it would be kind of special, but to me, I mean, like I would know I'm in a special place, but Forrest kind of, in another quote, basically says, nah, I don't think they would. He said they might, but they'd have so much on their mind they probably wouldn't notice. Maybe it just means if they found the treasure chest and opened it and marvel gazed for a while, which he tells you not to by saying Terry Scant, wait around little, you know, you'd be obsessing on the treasure and wouldn't notice this place that he has once said, referred to as, had reverence for. Anyway.